In this video I'm painting two pears I just got fresh from the market. They make a lovely little still life, easy to follow, and I hope you enjoyed this one. I started off with wetting the paper and left some white bits for the highlights out, and then I'm dropping in a very weak wash of Hansa yellow medium. As it's kind of neutral, it's not too warm or too cold, and it's fairly transparent as well. So I'm just going to drop in that yellow pigment wherever I've wet the page already, and I'm leaving some white highlights because I've got the light coming from the right. And on that second pear that's on the left of the page, that has a few highlights at the top. It's kind of lying on its side, but it'll still catch a bit of the light there. And now I'm doing the same. I'm just putting the first wash of very watery yellow and leaving some white. I've added a bit of Cobalt Blue to my yellow. That gives me a green. And I'm just going to drop that in so that I create some textures and some random gradients between those two colors, the lighter yellow and the green. And I don't really have a clear idea where I want to go with this. At this point I'm really just dabbling and dropping in some pigment here and there and really let the painting take its own course of action. And you can see I've changed the green a little bit, so I added a bit of raw sienna into that mix, and also getting a little bit thicker with my pigment, a bit less water, a bit more color, and just keep dropping in different shades of green. I continuously add more of the same color, but always change it just a little bit. Add a bit more raw sienna or add a bit more blue to it, so just that I get different shades. And I've moved on to a bit more of a red color, so now I'm using with a burnt sienna, still picking up a bit of the green. I want it to all be kind of harmonious in the color, and just continue to drop them in and create a rich tapestry of colors. Now I'm starting to drop in some more darker colors, starting to hint at the shadows and creating the volume of the pears and indicating where the light and where the shadows are. So I'm gradually building up the tone, so I'm coming in with a bit of a stronger red and drop that into where I had a bit of the reddish color before. And I really like that stage of the first wash where things are really still wet and you can't really make any mistakes, and it's just a matter of creating texture and color and volume of the objects. Now I'm starting on the stems with a thicker mix of burnt sienna and cobalt blue, which gives me sort of a browny grey. And I'm fairly gentle and deliberate in my brush strokes here. It's a loose painting overall, but in certain areas you just need to have enough definition and detail for the eyes to be able to focus on something, and in this case it'll be those stems. By now the pears have dried enough for me to start adding some shadows at the bottom, and that's a very thick mix of burnt sienna and cobalt blue, again probably mixed in a bit of indigo. I always like having a bit of indigo in my shadows. It's a really rich dark blue that's perfect for shadows. And I'm carrying that shadow through to the other side of the pear just to tie them together. Probably the shadow didn't actually fall that way, but it's believable enough for the eyes. And you can see that the shadow also runs slightly into the pear because it's still a little bit wet, but that's not a problem at all. I've let that dry, and I'm now going in to add more definition between the two pears. There's some shadow that the pear on the right will cast onto the pear of the left, and that will set them two apart as well. Same shadow color, just go in and then use a clean brush to soften that edge on the left. And now I'm just going to strengthen some of the details, like the stems, make that a bit darker. And at this stage, I'm just touching up tiny little bits here and there where I feel like there's a bit of shadow missing. I just gently brush over it with a bit of a darker tone. But in essence, we're finished. I can stop. Thanks for watching and hope you like and subscribe.